everyone, it's Noor and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna discuss how to unlock a new chapter and how to genuinely move on. So of course, I wouldn't be speaking about such a topic if I haven't dealt with heartbreak or if I didn't go through it myself. I feel like it wouldn't make sense, and that is why I am willing to share some of the things that I have done that allowed me to genuinely get over that heartbreak and heal, because healing is a big part of moving on. I remember this was one of the darkest times of my life, and that is why I hope that whatever I share with you guys, whoever is dealing with a heartbreak right now, I hope that it can help you in any way so that you can get over that stage. So the number one thing you have to do if you are going through a heartbreak, especially if you're trying to move on, you have to accept and acknowledge what happened, acknowledge the situation, acknowledge that how it is. There's no ifs, woulds, should, coulds. It just is. And this is a thing a lot of people struggle with if they're going through a heartbreak and they don't accept it, is they never move on. Because if you're not gonna accept what happened to you, you're not gonna be able. You have to process what happened and accept the fact that it can't be changed. What happened is in the past, and for you as a human being, all you can do is focus on the present and look forward to the future. You can't be looking back and trying to overthink of it. No, just accept it. This is how it is and it can't be changed. So with that being said, it's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel like upset and angry and down. It's okay to cry. Just allow yourself to feel the emotions, because if you're not going to allow yourself to feel the emotions and accept what's happening to you, the truth is it's going to come back later on. And then you're going to be stuck in this cycle of like running away from it, and then your feelings are going to pop out, whether in situations, whether that be when you're dealing with other people, it's going to come out. So you don't want that. You want to feel the emotions, accept it, and understand that it's temporary. You know, it's just a stage that you're gonna eventually get through. And I know if you're going through it right now, I know it's easier said than done. I know that it might sound hard, it might sound like it's impossible, especially if you've developed an emotional connection with that person and you genuinely love them. It is gonna be hard, but I promise you it will get easier through time, because time heals all wounds, and it just facts. Even though some wounds may take longer than others, or some wounds may sometimes show up in other aspects of your life, it's a fact that they're not going to be as strong. Like, you're not going to feel the emotions as strong as you used to. So that is why, give yourself time, accept what's happening to you, feel the emotions. It's okay to be sad, but don't stay there for too long. Because the reality is, if you're gonna stay there for too long, you're not helping yourself in any way, and you don't want that. You want to, okay, do it maybe for like a week or two, but don't stay there for too long. Of course, it might depend on each person and how long you've been with that person, and so that is why you just have to like make sure you're kind to yourself, but at the same time acknowledge the fact that you're not meant to be dwelling on what happened for a while. It should be for a small amount of time, and then you're meant to be doing what we're about to discuss in the next points. Now, the number two thing you want to do if you're trying to get over a heartbreak is definitely to keep the distance. And what I mean by that is you have to cut off contact, any way, shape, or form. Whether you have to unfollow them on Instagram, I suggest blocking them. This is what helped me, because I feel like if you delete them and then they pop up, or they're one of those exes that always try to come back and you're just trying to forget about them, blocking them could be the best way possible for you to just be at peace, focus on yourself, and not have to worry if they saw your post or if you're by mistake might end up on their profile, you know, because it happens. Some people, out of curiosity, they like to try to go and try to see what's going on in their life, and that all is disrupting your phase of moving on. It's disrupting your stage of moving on. You're gonna be thinking about where they were, who they're seeing. You don't want any of that. Your priority in that stage is you. Okay, you have to realize that they're in the past. That's what I'm telling you in the first step. When you're accepting it, they're in the past, which means goodbye. They can't get to you and you can't get to them. They're in the past, and that's about it. And so when you cut off contact with them, you are allowing yourself to realize that it happened for the best. You're also getting yourself used to living without them. And this is key. I'm telling you, you have to keep the distance. You have to cut them off. And always keep in mind that when God ends things, it's always because better things are about to fall into place and because He has better things planned for you. You know what I mean? So always just understand when you're going through it that it's for your best, whatever that case could be. And always allow yourself to have hope, you know, it's crucial, you know, don't be stuck. This is not the end. Your hurt, your pain is not the end. It's part of the journey. And you have to feel that pain to grow because, believe it or not, speaking from experience, throughout that stage, I was feeling so hopeless. I was super sad, super hurt, but I did channel that pain into purpose, which means that I grew, I became much wiser. I took what happened to me as a learning experience. I've gotten to learn a lot about myself, learn a lot about how to deal with men. I learned how to love myself more, how to put myself first. These are all things that you're gonna learn when you go through heartbreak. And that is what I'm telling you. It's actually for your own favor because life is the best teacher. Nobody's gonna come to you and teach you how you're meant to be or how to grow. You're gonna naturally grow through situations that you go through. So this is the thing that you have to keep in mind. Number 3 thing you have to do if you're dealing with a heartbreak is to focus on yourself. You have to really visualize yourself leveling up in every single aspect possible. You know, this is your opportunity to become the best version of yourself. Take all that pain and use it as fuel and work on yourself. This is what I've done. When I was going through a heartbreak, all that pain, I channeled it into working out. I would work out every single day. I put a goal in my mind. I'm like, okay, this is my body resolution. This is what I'm trying to achieve. And I just put my focus on it. I focused on myself leveling up physically, mentally, and spiritually. It was also a time that I got closer to God. And so that is why, take it to your own advantage. Use that pain and channel that pain into something positive. So focus on yourself, exercise, eat healthy, get enough sleep, engage in activities that you love to do, you know, practice your hobby, whether that be playing tennis, going to the gym, you like to paint, go ahead and paint. Whatever you like to do, do it. Because this is your time to be focusing on yourself. This is your time to be leveling up. This is your time to really enjoy your own presence without anybody. You don't need anyone. And I'll tell you something, throughout this stage, it's gonna make you realize that genuinely true joy doesn't need to come from nobody around you. If you were in a relationship and you had a lot of joy because of that person, you were depending your own joy on that person, guess what? You would always come out of it empty. Because true joy comes from within. And when you make yourself happy by the things you love to do, you're just in this peaceful stage. You're gonna see the difference and you're gonna see that genuinely nobody brings you joy but yourself, and of course through God. Now the 4th most important thing you have to do, which is probably the hardest, is to forgive and let go. Now a big part of moving on is forgiving the other person that hurt you. This was the hardest thing I had to personally go through, because it's like, imagine that person hurt you and you just kind of get to a point where, because that pain is so much, you're like, what did I do to deserve this? I don't deserve this. And so you kind of get into that stage of like anger and resentment and bitterness, which honestly and truly, I have realized that actually affected me negatively, because when you have bitterness in your heart, you're closing off yourself and you're still not allowing yourself to genuinely heal. And there's always gonna be something that's gonna trigger that bitterness, which is gonna then remind you of what happened. So that is why you don't want no bitterness. And this is key to moving on. If you're gonna keep the bitterness, if you're gonna say, I hate that person, I wish they burn in hell, whatever like resentment you have towards that person that hurt you, it's actually impacting you in a negative way, because you're not gonna be able to grow fully, you're not gonna be able to heal fully. And that is why you have to forgive them. And guess what? When you forgive them, you're actually doing yourself a favor. Because when you forgive somebody else that hurt you, you're actually freeing yourself from resentment. You're opening yourself to peace. And literally, there's nothing anymore that affects you. You have detached your emotions. You have detached that pain from everything that happened. And now you're just free. Now you're solo. Now you're a free soul. And now you've got nothing else to worry about. And that is why I'm telling you, from my personal experience, when I forgave that person, when I made peace with my past, this is when I was able to let go, because they did what they've done. It happened for a good cause. Now we're not together. And even though they may have done me wrong, I'm so happy that I found out now what type of person they are, instead of staying with them and then getting mentally abused even more. You know, letting go and forgiving is crucial to moving on, because the big advantage of forgiving someone is actually it allows you to forget as well. Because if you're always like having this resentment, you're angry and you're and you're like thinking about it, you're actually not gonna forget about it. It's always gonna come up in things you do, and it's gonna affect other aspects of your life, which is the last thing you want to do. So when you forgive and then you let go and then you allow yourself to feel the peace, you allow yourself to be a free soul, you're actually gonna naturally forget about it. And then time is gonna pass, and then one day you'll look back and be like, oh yeah, that was like an experience that I've learned a lot for and that I'm grateful for, because of who I became as a person and how it has shaped me. Now, the fifth thing you want to do is you want to open yourself to new connections. And what I mean by that, I'm not saying go directly after you break up, go and date somebody else directly. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying though is go and build new connections, because a lot of times human interaction, it just is a good way to forget as well. And it's a good way to connect with other people. And it's a good way to learn new things and just stay, kind of like occupy yourself. And it'll also give you indirectly and unconsciously the impression that this is my new life, these are new people that I'm meeting. And so it's gonna feel super good when you're meeting new people and when you're introducing them to your life. It's just gonna feel naturally good. You're gonna feel good. And yeah, of course, just make sure these connections are of value to you. There's no point in building meaningless connections. Now, the last and best part of them all is you have to give it all to God. And what I mean by that is when you're going through that stage, you have to trust in God's plan. You have to understand that this happened for a reason, and that God closes a door because he has a better door for you. God made this relationship end either because it's no longer serving you and he has a better relationship, a better person for you, or because he wants you both to grow separately, become who you're called to be, him first before he puts you both back together. So whatever God's plan is for your life, you have to trust that his plans are better than your plans, and that everything that happened was meant to happen the way they are, so that you can move into the next stage of your life. And I also want to tell every single person watching it, whether you are a woman who's searching for a husband or you're a husband that's searching for a wife, pray for your future spouse, because when you pray for your husband or when you pray for your wife, God listens. God is there to listen to what you want in a spouse, what you want for a husband. So always pray that God, you can say like a simple prayer for like, God, I pray for my future spouse. I pray that you give me the best for myself. You give me somebody that is meant to be for me, that is going to be the best spouse, that is going to be the best husband or wife ever. And of course, you can be more specific when you're asking God that, but it is really important to pray for your future husband or your future wife, because God will give you the desires of your heart if you put your trust in Him. God says, abide in me and I'll abide in you, and trust me. When you abide in God and you trust in Him, He will give you the desires of your heart. Just if you're going through that stage, I want to tell you, it's not the end. It's gonna get better. A big part of me being able to move on is putting God first and getting closer to Him and putting all my worries and doubts and pain onto Him, because He genuinely, I'm telling you, speaking from experience, when I was going through that, I put all that pain onto Him. I gave it all to God and He genuinely helped me. I wasn't gonna get out of that heartbreak if it wasn't for God. So I suggest, whoever you are, if you're going through that pain, give it all to God. Pray every single day, every single night, Make sure that God is by your side. Trust in His plans for your life, and you will be content. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, and if you learned something new, and if you thought it was helpful, make sure you comment down below, like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. And I will see you guys in my next one. Bye bye.